Good evening, everyone. I would request MP Thakur Rudra Pratap Singh to please start the 26th Parliamentary session. Over to you.
Greetings to all, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and all my fellow parliamentarians. I am Thakur Rudra Pratap Singh, an MP at the 3rd World Teen Parliament from India. As we gather here today for the 26th Parliamentary session, it is a moment of distinct honor for me to extend a warm welcome to each of you. We are privileged to be joined by distinguished leaders whose expertise and dedication inspire us all. Welcome Mr. Buti Manamela, Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology, Government of South Africa. Honorable Corey Lane, Minister of State, Office of the Attorney General, Government of Barbados. Dr. Mohammad Ismael Rawoo, Parliamentary Private Secretary, National Development Unit, Government of Mauritius. And Mr. Daksh Gaur, the esteemed founder of Blub World and the World Teen Parliament. In conclusion, I extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your presence here today. May this session be filled with fruitful discussions, meaningful connections, and impactful outcomes aiming towards a brighter tomorrow. Now, without further ado, I invite Mr. Daksh Gaur, the founder of Blub World and the World Teen Parliament, to take the stage and guide us through the rest of this event. Mr. Gaur, please proceed.
Thank you so much, Rudra, for that amazing start to the 26th Parliamentary session. I'd once again welcome all the teen MPs, influencers, and all our honorable guests for today for this 26th Parliamentary session. But before we start, just a small little story where all of this started during COVID. While we were working with so many teenagers across the world, we thought that now is a time where teenagers across the world need a platform where they could come together, interact with policymakers, learn how democracies work, and most importantly, influence and understand policy and policy making. And what is the role of the future voter in democracies and how countries will function in the future. That is the result. The World Teen Parliament was formed, the world's first and only elected parliament of teenagers. This is a parliament where every year teenagers from across the globe participate. People vote for them or the ideas that they propose for world improvement. And the top 100 teenagers who have the most amazing ideas and the maximum public support or the maximum votes get elected to the World Teen Parliament for a duration of 1 year or a tenure of 12 months. During these 12 months, they work on different ideas, talk to policymakers, go through trainings, go through mentorship, and most importantly, they get funded for executing their ideas on ground and scaling them to a level that it impacts the world in a better way. Thank you so much to all our speakers for today for joining us. I would now invite the first speaker for today to give their opening address for the 26th Parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament. A very warm welcome to Mr. Buti Manamela, the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology, Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation from the Government of South Africa. A very warm welcome, sir. Over to you for your opening address.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the honor of having me here. Program director, and all the parliamentarians, young parliamentarians who are part of this session. And I'm quite excited to be sharing my thoughts on some of the issues that concerns young people, both of our country, the continent, and the world. Now, we should start by acknowledging everyone. I've been requested to share my expectation of teen parliamentarians. As a teenager, quite a long time ago, and so I cannot claim to know what it is to be like a teenager today. But there is one thing that I can say, is that I'm quite envious of today's teenagers. And that is because as a teenager today, you are able to access a variety of exciting technologies through which you are able to access large volumes of knowledge at the press of a button. As I understand it, the primary role of teen parliamentarians is for them to be the voice of young people around the world. And you're expected to advocate for issues that matter to children and also to young people in general. But you're also expected to champion the call for access to quality education and healthcare for children and young people. You're also expected to call for an end to child trafficking, abuse, and other forms of violence against children. You're also expected to raise your voices in protest against the horrendous violence that children in war-torn countries such as Palestine, the DRC, Sudan, Ethiopia, and others are subjected to. you are also an important voice of young people on such issues such as poverty and inequality, climate justice, and other social issues which face young people and children. In line with the provisions of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, as a country, we have a variety of programs that are designed to foster a culture of respect for the rights and dignity of children. And some of the programs include the Nelson Mandela Children's Parliament, which is convened annually by one of our departments here in South Africa, which is the Department of Social Development. Our children's parliament is a mechanism that serves as a channel for children's participation and affords them the opportunity to influence policy and programs in favor of children's rights. As a member of the African Union, our country is also expected to support and promote continental initiatives aimed at protecting the rights and dignity of children. In this respect, 2024 for us is a very special year as the African continent has deliberately prioritized education as the theme for the African Union. The chosen theme for this year is Educate an African fit for the 21st century, building resilient education system for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality and relevant learning in Africa. It is our belief that this focus on education in Africa will give much needed impetus to the realization of the AU's Agenda 2063, which, as you know, is a blueprint for Africa's development. At the heart of Agenda 2063 is the aspiration to achieve a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. This aspiration will not be realized if we fail to ensure that Africa's children receive quality nutrition and quality education. Most importantly, to achieve Agenda 2063, we'll also have to ensure that Africa's young people are equipped with the relevant skills that will enable them to function intelligently and productively in a world that is defined by such advances as artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, coding, nanotechnology, and many other exciting technological advances. As we highlight the importance of education for Africa's young children, it is also important to remember some of the lessons we learned with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic disrupted education and at the same time increased youth unemployment and skills mismatch. As a country and continent, this made us realize the agency of enhancing the agility of our education system to be able to withstand the challenges that comes with fast changing and uncertain conditions. And in this respect, the Transforming Education Summit convened by the United Nations Secretary General in September 2022 secured commitments from governments to build more inclusive, resilient, and relevant lifelong learning system. These are systems that are deliberately designed to address evolving skills demands and the transition towards the green and digital economies through attainment of the Sustainable Developmental Goals by 2030. The significance of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development lies in its comprehensiveness and interconnectedness. In support of this, as government, we've aligned our development frameworks, such as the National Development Plan, to the Sustainable Developmental Goals, which further signifies a more robust approach to attainment of these goals. The realization of the Sustainable Development Goals has been hampered, obviously, by interlinked global crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic, as I've mentioned, conflicts around the world, climate change, but also a weakening global economy. And I think as we've heard recently, some of the countries have been experiencing economic recession. In order to address these challenges, we will require stronger and increased partnerships between all social actors, including young people from all backgrounds and regions of the world. Partnerships amongst young leaders like yourselves are critical because history continues to remind us much of the great things that human beings have achieved have been as a result of collaboration and not competition. In conclusion, as teen parliamentarians, you occupy a unique and powerful position to not just change the perceptions that are often associated with being a teenager. Your position also gives you the rare privilege of being part of those who are able to shape the future of our country, continent, and the world. This, I believe, is your moment, and that you'll have to make the best of it. You have to challenge us as the older generation, that we have to work towards protecting your own future. I wish that we have a productive and fun-filled teenage parliament. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Minister, Mr. Buti Manamela, for this amazing start to the 26th Parliamentary Session. I think you very well gave everyone here a very detailed journey of how is Africa and how South Africa is moving towards focusing on education, towards the future, and taking the young generation along with them. Thank you so much, sir. Let me invite the next speaker for today for the opening address. A very warm welcome to Honorable Mr. Corey Lane, the Minister of State, Office of the Attorney General from Bridgetown, Barbados. Sir, over to you for your opening address. Please unmute yourself, and a very warm welcome.
Greetings to all. I hope you're all hearing me well. I want to start by saying, yes, I am the Minister of State with special responsibility for crime prevention in the Office of the Attorney General in the island of Barbados. And I would like to start by bringing you greetings from the government and the people of Barbados. In my background, what you're actually seeing is a picture of our parliament. It's the third oldest parliament in the hemisphere. It was started back in 1627, I believe, having one of the major colonies here, England, settled. So that's the first part. The second part is that I'm not feeling 100%, but I am 100% proud to be here with you today. I feel 100% inspired to see you, to hear the starting, especially from MP Singh, and I feel very impressed. It takes me back to my beginning. As a teenager at 15, I felt like there's so many things that I wanted to see happen for my peers and for my community, and they just weren't happening. And I got up and I started to get involved to make them happen, as opposed to complain about them not happening. So I got involved. Obviously, I was involved in Boy Scouts. I got involved in the Youth Development Council. I got involved in Youth Parliament. I was brought in on the opposition and was voted Prime Minister within about 6 months or so being in the organization. So I know a bit of this role. Like my colleague said, I haven't been a teenager for a while. I've been there closer than him, but I still don't know what it is to be a teenager, because things have changed so rapid and the rate of change is so fast. And that is why it's even more important to have teenagers involved in policy making, because if you think of the distance of thinking between today's teenagers and policymakers, and even yesterday teenagers and policymakers, the gap is wider because of the rate of change, be it technology, be it culture, be it whatever. In terms of the work that I'm doing now that speaks as a teenager, one of the roles I have to mention really is the MP part of it. I'm the Member of Parliament for the city of Bridgetown. And that's where the hard work is, because that's where you have the most constituents and that's where you have the least help. In the ministry, I have an entire ministry to do so many things and launch so many projects. So what I find fascinating is that a lot of things that I was advocating for as a teen, particularly in youth parliament, a lot of these things were ignored, but I still went ahead with a shoestring budget or no string budget and implemented them in a very micro way, in a very small way with little success, or having success based on skill. Now that I've been in the chair for a year, a lot of the things I wanted to implement, I can implement now, because I have the budget, I have the staff, and what they've seen now, not just by word, but by figures and by statistics, has been tremendous success. And the success does not surprise me, because obviously I'm doing these things on a small scale in the community, working with at-risk youth, providing them with things to do, and then, doing things to capture their attention, getting them to come into the organizations, giving them the exciting and fun and challenging things that I wanted to do. And then once you have them so captured, then you could work on personal development. Then you could work on training. Then you could work on getting them into sustainable things, whether it be a job, entrepreneurship, a business. And it worked. And it worked on a very small scale. And now I'm being able to do it at a national level on a large scale, is working on a large scale, and everybody's going, wow. When these are the things that I've been advocating for 23 years and doing them on my own, obviously now I am not surprised. What it is telling you is that impact multiplied by scale gives you transformation. So what we're doing now is transforming a nation. Now, why crime is important and why the Prime Minister chose me is because obviously she knew my work through the years. She really wanted to get me into active politics for a very, very long time. I kept out of it for a very, very long time. As a teenager, I loved politics. In youth parliament, I loved politics. But real politics is a little different. It's a little, it's not as easy. But she got me in 2022. So I've only been in 2 years. And immediately she knew the work it was doing. So she put me on that on the national level. Now, crime was kind of getting out of control in the Barbados and in the region. And to give you a little sense of it, in Latin America and the Caribbean is responsible for 8% of the world's population. 8%. But responsible for 37% of its homicides and 50% of its organized crime. So you see the disproportion there. When you think of the Caribbean, you must think paradise. You must think come on vacation with some of the best people in the world. You should not be thinking kidnappings, homicides, robberies, and so on. So I'm proud to be that point person in Barbados. I know they're seeing our model, the region, CARICOM, which is the Caribbean region, have reached out to me twice this week alone, but been reaching out to me over the last couple of months since our homicides came in at half at the end of my first year to make their model off of our successful setup. So I just leave that there as a thing I was wanting to introduce you to me before as a youth parliamentarian, what I'm doing now, and basically in the future, I want to expand what I'm doing in my country and do it in my region. So thank you very much for having me. I'm very humbled to be in your space. And I thank you that you allowed me to have this opportunity to address you. I am truly honored.
Thank you so much, Honorable MP Corey Lane. Thank you so much for this amazing address. And I think a very important lesson that everyone can take from this conversation is that you might be doing some very small things, but just when you get the scale of it, people start saying that wow factor comes in. Everything gets appreciated. But you have to understand that wow factor only comes when you've experimented, worked on things in multiple levels and multiple layers, so that when you get the opportunity, you have something to implement. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing that. And I think a very good visualization that you gave, that 8% of the population and nearly 37 to 40% of the world's homicides and organized crime. So this is the way you visualize global problems or problems at a scale, and how do you solve them? This is for all the teen MPs to learn from the speakers today. Thank you so much, sir. Let me invite the next speaker for the opening address. A very warm welcome to Dr. the Honorable Mohammad Ismael Rawoo, the Parliamentary Private Secretary, National Development Unit from Mauritius. Thank you so much, sir, for being a part here, and a very warm welcome to you. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, you can hear me. Warm welcome to everyone, Mr. Daksh Gaur, Mr. Buti Manamela, and Honorable Lane. Actually, I just sorry for being a bit late. I'm in my constituency, and we just inaugurated the mini soccer pitch, and I got into a mandate house to start the conference. So warm welcome to everyone, and thank you for inviting me for this World in Parliament as the 26th session, actually, which is being held by Mr. Daksh Gaur. I would like, first of all, to tell a few things. I've been looking at a list of questions that has been given to me. But first of all, first of all, the importance and power and responsibilities. Being elected in government side in the South constituency, actually in Mauritius, we have 20 constituencies. 20 constituencies where different members, opposition and government side, they got elected. And I am elected because of the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Health in my constituency. And basically, PPS is what? The Private Parliamentary Secretary is actually like a junior minister. Like a junior minister, we deal with all the infrastructural projects. We do have, I'm in charge of like the south and the center of the capital of Mauritius, which is Port Louis, and also for Agalega Island. So we do have a work plan for all the infrastructural work that is going on, like roads, drains, and all amenities like soccer pitch. Like just we did like 1 hour back in a village called L'Escalier. It is called the International City of Peace, where we inaugurated a soccer pitch where many teens were involved, many youngsters were involved. That's a good thing of it. So why we do such kind of activities? We do have many villages where we plan our work. We do many amenities for them. Like we just inaugurated a jogging track. We inaugurated the mini soccer pitch. We inaugurated a hall with all facilities like a pool table and everything. It gives an opportunity for the youngsters to come and like have the free time for them to play freely. Everything is free for all inhabitants and all teenagers, all teens, and they are given Wi-Fi facilities, they are given laptop facilities and everything. And one of the main things I want to pinpoint is that in Mauritius, education is free. Education is free as from pre-primary to tertiary education. So no one has to pay for the education fees. It is free for us from the start. And what incentive we also gave to like everyone who has a newborn, we give an allowance also to those kids from their birth till 3 years. We give an allowance of like 2,000 rupees, which is being given to their parents. And after that, the pre-primary is being given free. And that's the biggest opportunity I can say for all those people who can't afford education. And they are well surrounded. The good thing is that also after school, we are in contact also with different NGOs, with different parastatal bodies, that they give their help. They give their help in community, and they are well surrounded. That's a good thing of it. And I wanted to show the powers all the teenagers have today, the change they can make to improve the world. I'm just looking at the question right now. So I would like to say that teenagers in Mauritius mainly, they are incredible power in holding and shaping the present and the future. They do have a transformative impact they can make to improve the world. That's very important. And teenagers today are not just the leaders for tomorrow. They are the architects of today's reality. As right now, we have been with many kids in the villages, and it's them who give us ideas. They give us, they share the ideas, how to do community works. Like we do have a programs against drug with the Ministry of Health. We do have a program where we involve teenagers. They come for a free course to fight against drug dealers, to fight against people who are actually impacted by the problem of drugs. And they come and help together with the community workers. They come and help to help the society, the fight against drugs. All this is very impactful because they are interested. They are interested with us. And what's more important, as honorable members of the parliament, we do keep in touch together with all the community, all the different areas, but we do have several areas where there are impacted by different factors in the society. But the challenge rests assures that the teenagers here, they're rich cultural tapestries that values the unity in diversity. That's the ability. That's very important, actually. I'm looking at the next question. Sorry for being like, because I was in my constituency, I didn't get anything prepared. So how can they help? Yes.
I'd like to take a minute, sir. Thank you so much for the opening address. Now we'll be starting the question hour. So some of the MPs will be interacting with you. So it'll be better if we take questions from the MPs themselves, if you allow that, because all the other guests also will be
cool. Exactly. That's better.
Yeah.
Thank you
so much, sir. Thank you so much for the opening address. Now, from here point onwards, it's an open floor question hour. So these MPs will be asking questions to all of you. They would have done some research. They would have read about you. So any question that comes in, any of the guests can answer, even if it might be directed to a specific guest. If you want to add something, you can unmute yourself and add your point to the question. From here onwards, I'll be inviting the MPs to ask their questions. Feel free to answer them whichever way you want. If you have a question for the MPs, you can ask them. And if you want to allow them a follow-up question, you can allow them. If you want to disallow, you can also disallow. That's the power that the speaker has. So let me invite the MPs to ask questions for today. The first MP is MP Harsh Mishra. Harsh Mishra, over to you. Please ask your question. Please unmute yourself.
I am MP of Third World Teen Parliament from Middle and Commerce Development High School, Kolkata, West Bengal. My question is for Mr. Buti Manamela. The world is increasingly moving towards AI, artificial intelligence. According to you, sir, how AI would impact the education system across the globe? Would the impact be similar for all the countries or different for each? Would it be negative or positive? Please enlighten us with your views.
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
I'll repeat the question for you. So the question is, yes, that please. The world is actively moving towards artificial intelligence. And according to you, how would that be impacting the education systems in different countries? And would it go on a similar trajectory, or different countries will respond differently? So how will basically artificial intelligence impact education? And how are governments using AI for improving education?
Yeah, of course. Can I answer now?
Please, sir.
Oh, yes, sure. Look, firstly, I mean, it's inevitable with some of the, developments that have happened out there in terms of artificial intelligence, applications such as ChatGPT, applications such as BART, I think for Google and many others, which have basically enhanced the gathering of information, and even to the point of providing solutions to existing problems, which ordinarily, we would trouble ourselves with. And so that will definitely have an impact in terms of research and knowledge production. There's also something called artificial general intelligence, which is something that has been explored quite extensively, which is the idea that machines could basically mimic human behavior to the point that they would actually act as human beings, and so it is those factors that we have to take into consideration when we look at the progress, an impact that this will have on our universities. Most of our universities in South Africa, and in my exchange with most of the universities all over the world, they are integrating some of the developments in terms of artificial intelligence to enhance, student or learner experiences, to ensure that information and knowledge is delivered as succinctly, as quickly as possible. And I think that we, obviously have to look at the positive impact, but also be careful in terms of some of the ethical and moral challenges posed by this. Already, many universities have been, struggling with plagiarism as a result of Google search. And so some of the new applications are making it even much more challenging. The reality is that we have to use whatever technological developments and progress in order to enhance human capability in terms of innovation, in terms of research, in terms of knowledge production that will help put humanity forward, that will help deal with issues around poverty, health challenges, and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Do you have a follow-up question, or any of the other speakers? Do you want to contribute to the topic where AI is influencing education in your country, or shall we move to the next question? Okay, so we'll move to the next question. The next question comes from Ashi Singh, who's also an MP at the third world team. Ashi, over to you. Please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good evening, everybody. I am MP of World Teen Parliament. I'm from class 9th Allen House Public School, Panki. So my question for Dr. Mohammad Ismael Rawoo is, can you share insights into the future vision for higher education and how it aligns with the broader national development goals?
Yes, thank you for the question. Actually, can you just please repeat the question? The national development goals for? Hello?
Yes, Ashi, please repeat the question.
Yes, sir. Can you share insights into the future vision for higher education and how it aligns with the broader national development goals?
Yes, actually for align the future for education, you're telling me? For higher education? Yes, for higher education,
Yes,
just like you look for the system we do have in Mauritius, when we are promoted, when those students are promoted to higher education, they do also as well, recently, like 2 weeks back, we can say there was the laureates. The laureates are the people who came first in for different subjects. And they are first in Mauritius. And in Mauritius, we do provide them with free tertiary education. Free tertiary education, they can choose a country to go for, to pursue the higher studies. And we do have in different sectors. We do have in science sector, we do have in economic side, we do have in art side. And you're telling about the development goals of teens in higher education. For example, if the students are studying in their locality and they do lack infrastructure, and us MP, for example, me being an MP in my constituency, we do have group sessions with different NGOs, with different students. Then they do ask us activities that they do want in the areas. Like, for example, after school, they do want to have a football tournament. We do give them all the opportunities as well to contribute to the society. For example, if they also want to contribute with government, we do have different NGOs who get in touch with those students. And us, government side, we have the ability to put into realization what they actually need. For example, just like I said in my opening speech, I am in an area right now where do have many students from higher education, but this area do not have activities in the area. And we do help them. We do help them in different, how we can, in government, how we can provide them with those facilities so that they can integrate more together with the society and as well with the education. That's very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question actually comes from MP Dhania KH. I think there's some technical issue at her end, so I'll ask a question. It's for Honorable Mr. MP Corey Lane, that how can we revamp our electoral system to elect ethical leaders who prioritize national development and combat corruption effectively? So how do we improve the electoral system? Because this is a challenge across the world, across countries, that how do we choose more ethical leaders? So you'll have to unmute yourself.
Right. Excellent question. Something that I was, again, proposing from the time of Youth Parliament. I think we have to educate persons, first of all, what it is they need in a leader. Because one of the things that always struck me was I was doing advocacy. So I was out in the community. And I think people, particularly adults like that, they say, oh, he's so intelligent, he's so articulate, and they like that. And I'm doing a lot of community work, and they say, okay, that's good. But when you hear them say that they wanted me to get involved in politics or be a politician, it will often be followed or started by the fact that I am articulate. So they say, you sound so good, you should be a politician. You can talk so good, you should be a politician. And what that does is it takes people that can talk and they get into politics and they talk and they give you a good campaign, as opposed to direct polarized to people who are really genuinely interested in change in the community and so on. And I'm not saying that always have to be mutually exclusive, because with me, it is not. But understand that we get what we call for, we get what we vote for. And that cycle continues the cycle. So I believe that, first of all, the populations need to be kind of advised and sensitized to what makes the best leader. Who's going to answer your call? Who understands problem solving? Because a lot of times people don't even understand problem solving. They understand problem diagnosing. So this is a problem, and the roads are the problem, and the housing is the problem, and they know every problem, but they don't match that with creative, realistic solutions. They will come to you and say, okay, we'll build 10,000 houses. But how? Let's break it down. We're going to have to make some legislation here for deeds over here. We got to change some legislation here for mortgages. We can got to do some things will need to change in order for us to see the solution. And I think that if we go that way worldwide, we could see a dramatic improvement in the people that represent people, because people around the world are frustrated with their politicians, say they talk a lot, they lie a lot. Sometimes they don't mean to lie, I would say, but the things are never realistic in the beginning, or things change very rapid and they're unable to. So I think that would be a good way to go in terms of improving representation right around the world.
Thank you so much, sir. I think a very important point that you actually get what you vote for. You have to understand that if you're just voting for people who are articulate, that's what you get. If you need policymakers, you'll have to go a little bit deeper into the individual that you're voting for. That's the only way electoral process will improve. Thank you so much, sir. The next question comes from MP Hardik Kumar Diwan. Hardik, over to you. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Namaskar, sir. Myself, Hardik Kumar Diwan. I'm a teen MP at the World Teen Parliament. I'm a 12th grade student from Cambridge School, Rewari, Haryana, India. My question is for Mr. Buti Manamela, Honorable Minister. Sir, what collaborative initiatives or opportunities do you see between South Africa and India in advancing scientific research, innovation, and higher education to address global challenges such as climate change and technological advancement?
Thank you so much for that question. I think already there are bilateral agreements in the areas of higher education, science, technology, and innovation that exist between South Africa and India. And most of those, includes, well, firstly, I think we did quite a lot of collaborative work, exchange of information, exchange of research and knowledge during the COVID-19 pandemic, which helped both countries to position themselves in a better way, in order to respond to the pandemic. Secondly, there exists exchange program between South Africa and India universities and universities of of technology in various technology focused and innovation focused programs, and I think that that's one thing that we have to enhance. But beyond that, there also exists a lot of collaboration at a multilateral level, through BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, which has now been extended, and I think that platform enables both our countries to exchange in terms of academics, exchange in terms of research, but also exchange in terms of students. And even before BRICS, there's been quite strong collaborations between the two countries, and I think it's something that we have to enhance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question comes from Saskia Puneet. Saskia, over to you. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Saskia. I am in grade 13, and I'm from Mauritius. So my question is to Mr. Mohammad Rawoo. How is the education system preparing students for the uncertainties of the future job market in a post-pandemic world?
Thank you very much. That's a great surprise from Mauritius. The post-pandemic world. So how you want to prepare yourself in the job sector after your studies? That's your question, right?
It's more about how the education system is preparing the students. And I believe on a personal level, it really depends on the student, but how is the education system preparing those students for the uncertainties?
Preparing them for the uncertainties. So you're talking about the uncertainties that is coming in the future world. So thank you for your question. Actually, as you know, how the education system in Mauritius is, we do have the higher education level and then the university, and then you choose which field you want to work and you want to study. That's the first thing. First thing is you choose a sector of education you want to go. And the job opportunities will all depend on what you did choose as a tertiary level education. For example, if someone is not interested or has failure in a higher school certificate or school certificate, we do have different types of jobs for them. And for those who went for higher studies, like for at university level, the job opportunities is still here. As you are aware, we did have a revision about the salaries for the new the one who is going to the job sector. But we also offer courses for those students who do not went for tertiary levels. There is a HRDC and MITD. The HRDC trains those students. Like, for example, they help those students who do not pursue higher studies. Those who do not pursue higher studies, there is a HRDC. HRDC is a government scheme that do provide them with the courses and also a stipend. Like, for example, they are given like 8,000 to 12,000 rupees for an incentive to go and study. And after that, they are being placed in either government sector or private sector. This is mainly for those who did not pursue higher studies. And now for those who did pursue higher studies, the job sector is open to depends on the application that you're going for. But actually, I'm just advising that we are involving in the IT sector. We are involving much in the tourism sector. and we do have lots of opportunities. That's mainly where you want to go, what studies you want to pursue. That's the main factor to open yourself in the job sector. But we are here, we are giving our maximum government side. As you know, we are giving all incentive, we are giving all facilities to all those students. Thank you for your question again, and it was a pleasure. And just one question, if you want to interact in private as well as being in Mauritius, I am here to help anyway, and it is of immense pleasure. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, sir. Your informations were very insightful, and I really appreciate your support as well. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question actually comes for Honorable MP Corey Lane. The question is that how do you see technology influencing the legal field, or how do you see it controlling crime? And what opportunities might arise for teenagers who might be interested in this field of technology helping in controlling crime?
Excellent question, and I do believe I have some interesting answers. First of all, in relation to the changes that teenagers can make right now, it is really present tense. They are making changes. They are contributing to different fields. We could think back about the Ivory Coast and all these different things that happened in recent times. Right now at Parliament, we have a cybercrime bill on the table. It went for the last 2 weeks. I think we have to send it up to the Senate now. But how young people can find their voices. Actually, a lot of them have found their voices and have caused some amendments in the early version of the bill because they thought that the bill was a little bit too restrictive. So it was able to send that to special committee. Special committee in our Parliament is when we open up the committee to get contributions from all and sundry. The youth is usually represented, lawyers are usually represented, special groups come forward, they make written or oral presentations to the select committee of Parliament. All of that goes into changing the Parliament, changing the bill. And that's one of my favorite parts of Parliament, true democracy, so that you're not having legislation from the top down, but we having it contributing where they can contribute in a sense there. In terms of the other part of the question, in terms of legal and so on and contributing, one of my most exciting acts are being built by a set of young people. Now, obviously, there are different acts to like kind of report crime, but they're actually reporting, they're actually creating an app that isn't about reporting crime, but it could. Because picture on your phone, different cultures, you have this app on your phone known to report. You may be known as an informer or snitch, or depending on where you're coming from. But they're putting together this app. Can't remember the name of it. It's been development now. They've sent me some mock-ups and so on. And what this app does is actually reports things in your community, good and bad. So it can report someone who helped someone, and you can get a reward on that. It can report a bully. It can report where somebody's hiding a gun or selling drugs. It is a community improvement app. And that is my #1 crime app now, because that gives me a lot of anonymous information where we can get on things in a real time. Because think of it before, outside of Crime Stoppers, you have to be on the phone, someone can hear your voice. You hear it's confidential, but you're still, not fully comfortable with that. And then we didn't have any website or anything here where people could report crime, because people say you track the IP address. So people did not feel there was this way to anonymously report, good or bad. And a set of they're called Future Barbados. They got together and they're developing this app. So that's just one example, using the creative power of teenagers that can solve big world problems and actually solve literal crimes already. So that's my answer to that.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question comes from Mohammad Taha. Mohammad, please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and ask a question.
Hey. Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammad Taha, and I'm studying in grade 11 in Jem Zabaron English High School, Boys, Sharjah. And my question is for Mr. Buti Manamela. And the question is, what are your insights on the implementation of leadership in speaking classes as a mandatory subject? And do you think this is a good initiative to create more intellectual individuals in the society?
Oh, most definitely. I think that's a very good question. Most definitely. I think we, all require to learn leadership as a skill, as an important skill, because in whatever areas that we, or professional careers that we want to pursue, or even in, our day-to-day civil duties, leadership is an important element. In fact, in our department, we have an agency which we refer to as Higher Health, and their role, they've developed a curriculum on leadership and civic duties for young leaders, which adds onto their qualification. If they do certain hours, they get post-school credits if they participate in that program. So I'd really encourage that. And beyond it including leadership skills, it should also include things such as the constitution of the country. It should also include things like how parliament work, how government work, because I think this is important knowledge that all young people need to have in order for them to actively participate as citizens. So I really think leadership and leadership skills is a very, very important academic pursuit that should be included for all young people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, there actually is a big lineup of questions, but we cannot take them since we are going towards the conclusion of the parliamentary session. The time is coming to an end. So let me invite all the speakers one after the other for their closing statements, or what would they want to tell the teenagers to remember them as, or this advice that they want to leave these teenagers with the 26th parliamentary session coming to an end. I would request Mr. Buti Manamela for his closing statement for the 26th parliamentary session.
Thank you very much. I must say this was quite exciting, and something that I would really want to participate in the future. And just one remark, I think there was a very brilliant question around how technological advances will help us in dealing with crime. Just to note that crimes such as in cybersecurity and all of that advances, it also means that governments all over the world, but also institutions of higher learning, will have to equip students in such skills as cybersecurity and all of that. We've seen how, for instance, the deployment of drone technology, the deployment of artificial intelligence, facial recognition, all of this have contributed greatly in dealing with crime and safety and security issues. But to young parliamentarians, I encourage you to pursue this as not only a career, but also as an important duty. We have seen what happens in countries where political activism, parliamentary work is regarded as a career, and where people basically serve themselves instead of serving the constituency that elects them into those office. So let's look at it as service rather than only merely as a career. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I think an amazing takeaway for all the teenagers. Don't look at policy making and politics as a career, but think of it as service and make it a part of your regular life. Don't make it a special occasion when you'll typically devote or serve your society. Thank you so much, sir. I would now request Honorable MP Corey Lane for the closing statement for the 26th Parliamentary Session.
Well, I would say that you are well on the way already. From the time I opened this Zoom and I saw you in here, I can see, okay, we are in good hands. We are going in the right direction. For my advice and takeaway is really to keep ahead of the research. As I said, the rate of change is exceedingly fast. For example, I was reading some stuff in Bloomberg and Forbes recently. It was saying like up to 63% of jobs that exist right now and may not exist in 2030 and beyond. So those are things you have to, especially those of you in school and interested in education, have to keep on that research, see where the world is going. Renewable energy, electrics, drone technology, as the former speaker said, so that you can keep yourself, your peers, your policy push going in the right direction and the right trajectory. You can only do that based on research. It's hard to predict the future, but the research puts you in the best light. And finally, I don't want you to only see your role as policy and articulation and advocacy. I believe that there are things that you can do, and that was one of the interesting questions I have, but I'll talk to you about that, Dashar. I want to know anything that you've done to your senior politicians in your country that you've gotten implemented. I'll give you one example of something I did I'm still proud of now. In 2001, I felt like we were debating, no one was listening to us. So what we did in the government, we came up with a 99-point plan, things we like to see. And we asked the opposition to put at least one to make it 100. They didn't make that one. But anyhow, what we did was at the end of that debate, we packaged it. We have 30 constituencies, and we went to the clerk of parliament and gave it to the clerk, and he had to put one on each person's desk. So I tell myself, somebody got to see it, somebody got to read it. And out of those many things, a few may have been done, but one major thing was done. It was one of our big issues at the time was HIV and AIDS. So they started the HIV/AIDS Commission, which is still in commission to this day, coming out of that. So we felt, oh, okay, we're not totally useless. So when you put together, when you have your debates and you have your policy, don't have them as mock debates. Debate real issues, put the policies together, and get them on the desks of your MPs, your senators, whatever your structure is, and you never know what may happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I think a very important lesson that start wherever you are and start small and, make that list that you want to see, the changes that you want to see. Keep sending those changes to the people who can make those changes, and you never know that something might really turn up or something might really come on ground. Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite Dr. the Honorable Mohammad Ismael Rawoo for the closing statement for the 26th Parliamentary Session.
Thank you very much. As we come to the end of this remarkable gathering of young minds from all around the world and also from Mauritius, I got a question. I have a sense of awe and inspirations. Throughout our discussion, it has become evident that the challenges we face are quite immense. We did talk about climate change, inequality, conflicts, and actually, these are not problems that we can be solved by only one country. This requires a global collaboration from everyone, from all countries. And I think this is why the World Teen Parliament is crucial. I believe also that all those young leaders, all those teens, they are much more than a group of individuals. We also we are forced to be reckoned capable of making a lasting impact on our world. The responsibilities that come with our potential should not be taken lightly. We must embrace our collective power and use it to advocate for what is right. We have to seek for justice for the marginalized and protect our planet for the future generations. This is why we are here, because we have a duty to stand up for those who lack a voice, to challenge the oppressive system, and also to ensure that every individual have an equal opportunities and rights. So let me tell everyone and urge everyone to stay engaged, to continue the conversation that has been sparked here, and remain resilient in the face of adversity, because as we may encounter setbacks, but it is throughout our perseverance and determination that we will bring about real change. I also want to express my gratitude to you, to all the organizers, for giving us this incredible opportunity, and each of you for your participation and passion. I will say, everyone, let's stay engaged, and also for the World Teen Parliament with us as we go forth into the world, and let our action speak louder than any words. And we are uttered here. Thank you very much for participating in the World Teen Parliament. And I wish you again, and everyone who are here, and all teens. And last thing I want to say, we have to get more people being involved in politics. And this is a change that is going to bring to everyone in the whole world. Thank you again very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Before this session comes to an end, the World Teen Parliament has initiated an activity to involve teenagers to understand how democracy works, how do you select your leaders, and how do you improve the electoral process across countries. We have started something called the World Teen Parliament voting debates on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. India time, exactly the time that we are here. We do a debate sort of session on Zoom where we invite teenagers from across the world that if you have some ideas for improvement, come and pitch and let people vote for you. That do they really like your articulation? Do they like your idea? Or what do they really like in you? So that by the time the teenager actually goes to cast his first vote, he would have casted multiple votes, so he knows that whether his vote is going in the right direction, that electoral improvements happen across countries. So if you know a teenager around you who might be interested in improving their own countries by improving their own vote, please tell them to be a part of the voting debates of the World Teen Parliament every Tuesday at 8 p.m. India time. Thank you so much for joining. Before the session comes to an end, for the closing and the thank you remarks, I would request MP Aditya Rajesh to please give the closing remarks for the closing for the 26th Parliamentary session. MP Aditya Rajesh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we draw the curtains on the 26th Parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished guests who have enlightened us with their presence and invaluable insights. Firstly, I extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Buti Manamela. Sir, your passionate advocacy for inclusive growth and youth empowerment, and your insights into South Africa's dedication to nurturing its youth and guiding them towards a brighter future have truly inspired us. Next, I offer my deepest appreciation to Honorable Corey Lane. Sir, your dedication to joining us today, despite feeling under the weather, speaks volumes of your commitment. Your tireless efforts in advocating for social progress and empowering young people, and your multifaceted approach to governance serves as an exemplary model for all of us. And lastly, I wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Mohammad Ismael Rawoo. Sir, your expertise and commitment to global collaboration have enriched our discussion and broadened our perspectives. And your statement that teenagers today are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but they are already the architects of today's society resonates deeply with us and serves as a reminder of the immense potential and impact that we teenagers have. As we conclude this session, let us carry forward the knowledge gained and remain steadfast in our commitment to create positive change in our communities and beyond. Thank you once again. Adios.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of the 26th Parliamentary session. These are all the teenagers signing off from all across the world at the World Teen Parliament. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Pleasure being here.